Just over 45 minutes left in this session, and John Buntakis is taking his time to get a banker lap on the board.
He'll be focused on the heavy fuel balance right now. No point burning through a fresh set of boots just for a headline time in practice.
Niall Giagegan is still out there without a registered lap time, though with over 44 minutes remaining, there is zero rush to find the limit. John Buntakis puts himself top of the sheets with a 150.0 as he works his way through Charlie's.
Decent benchmark to set this early. He looks comfortable, hitting his marks and not asking too much of the car just yet.
Walters is keeping his cards close to his chest. No lap time on the board yet, with plenty of time left on the clock. Niall Giagegan is navigating the Hall bends now, still waiting to post his first flyer with 43 minutes left to play with. Wallstrom slots into P3 with a 152.3, sitting about 2 seconds off the benchmark set by Buntakis.
It is all about data gathering right now. He might be on a heavier fuel load, testing how the car reacts when the tanks are full and the tires start to go.
Niall Giagegan finds his rhythm through Chris Curve, popping up into P2 with a 151.6. Wallstrom stays in P3 for now, keeping that 152.3 as his benchmark.
It is about finding a rhythm. He will be checking his mid-corner speeds and seeing where he can find those extra tenths over the next 40 minutes. Jimmy Lindo rolling through Barn, now one of the few drivers still without a time on the screens. He looks like he's just scrubbing in a set of tires. No need to go purple in the first 10 minutes when there's still 40 to go.
Daniel Koshis hasn't posted a time yet with just under 40 minutes on the clock.
He's likely chasing a balance issue. It is better to spend time in the garage now getting the front end to turn in, rather than fighting it for 40 laps later.
Buren Graham is stretching the car's legs on Park Straight, currently sitting fourth with that 1:54.8. Sten Wallstrom is keeping things consistent in third, that 1:52.3 remaining his benchmark as we tick down toward the 38-minute mark. Graham is holding on to P4 with that 1:54.8, just ticking off the laps as the clock counts down. Wallstrom is through the gooseneck now, still sitting third with that 1:52.3 as his best effort. Kosis still hasn't posted a time with 37 minutes remaining. Definitely looking for a comfortable setup before he sends it. Bontekis is looking very composed through Charlie's, still holding that top spot with his 150.0.
He is definitely in a groove. That section requires a lot of patience. If you try to hustle the car too much there, you will just cook the rears and lose all your drive onto the next straight.
Jimmy Lindo hits the top of the sheets with a 1:48.9, making up a lot of time on Park Straight. Nigel Walters is stretching the car's legs on Park Straight now, looking for his first timed lap, with 35 minutes remaining. Daniel Kochis is still a spectator on the timing screens, with 35 minutes left in this session.
It is better to be in the garage fixing a setup issue now than struggling with an undrivable car for the whole session. He will want that front end dialed in before he commits to a flyer.
Jody Fannin is still biding his time. No lap recorded yet, with just under 35 minutes to go in this session. Jimmy Lindo holding that P1 with a 1:48.9 as we tick toward the final half hour of practice. Nigel Walters is through Park Straight now, still looking for his first timed lap with 33 minutes to go.
He is taking his time to get heat in those tires. No sense pushing too early if you are on a heavy fuel load.
Jody Fannin is climbing through the mountain now, but we are still waiting on a first timed lap from him with 33 minutes to go.
That section is all about commitment. You have to trust the car won't swap ends on you when the suspension unloads at the crest.
Graham is through Hull Bends now, currently holding 5th with a 1:52.2. Jody Fannin is letting it rip on Park Straight, but 32 minutes in, and we are still looking for his first timed lap. Wallstrom is through the mountain now, currently 3rd with a 1:51.6.
He is definitely gaining confidence. That section will show you where the car is lacking mid-corner rotation, and he is looking very tidy there. Dominic Vovarg is winding his way through Charlie's, still looking to set his first timed lap with 31 minutes remaining. He is taking a lot of curb there. You want to be careful with your entry speed, or the car will just wash out on you at the exit.
Jimmy Lindo holding steady in first, that 1:48.9 staying his best effort as we enter the final 30 minutes of this practice session.
He looks comfortable. No need for him to go hunting for lap time right now. It is more about seeing how long those tires will last before they fall off a cliff.
Dominic Vovarg is through the mountain now, 30 minutes in and still no timed lap on the board.
He is taking a lot of curb there. You want to be careful with your entry speed or the car will just wash out on you at the exit.
Dominic Fovard cresting the mountain now, but the timing screen remains blank for him with exactly half the session gone.
That's a tricky spot to find your rhythm. If the car isn't settled over the rise, you're just a passenger. He's likely making sure the dampers are dialed in before he really goes for it.
Daniel Kachis is on the gas down Park Straight now, still looking for his first-time lap with 29 minutes left to go.
He is taking a lot of curb there. You want to be careful with your entry speed or the car will just wash out on you at the exit.
Kachis is winding up the engine on Park Straight now, still a blank slate on the timing sheets with 29 minutes left.
He looks like he's just gathering data. When I was testing, I'd often spend the first half of a session just checking aero balance before ever attempting a flyer.
Jimmy Lindo slips to second on the charts, that 148.9 keeping him well within striking distance.
He won't be sweating the top spot this early. Right now, it's all about making sure the car doesn't start snapping on him as the track temperature climbs.
Daniel Kachis is navigating the Hall bends now, but the timing screen remains empty for him as we tick under 29 minutes left. Elliot Norton is making his way through Charlie's now, still waiting on his first-time lap with 28 minutes left on the clock. Daniel Kachis gets his first flyer on the board with a 1:53.8 as he snakes through Chris Curve, which puts him ninth.
Decent starting point. He's not quite at the limit yet. You can see he's leaving a bit of safety margin on the exits as he gets a feel for the grip levels.
Dominic Fovard pops into sixth on the sheets with a 150.5, picking up speed as he carves through the gooseneck. Jody Fannin takes the top spot with a 147.9, currently picking up his way through Mansfield.
He is definitely on top of the car's balance through there. That's a huge step up in pace, nearly a second ahead of the field.
Bjorn Graham slips to eighth on the sheets with a 151.6, holding onto that spot as we tick past the half-hour mark.
It's about data gathering now. He'll be watching his tire temperatures and making sure the car doesn't feel too loose through the quicker sections.
Bjorn Graham's holding down P8 with a 151.6, about 4 seconds off that scorching pace at the top.
He's likely working through a long-run simulation. You can't just chase qualifying trim all session. You need to know how the car will behave when the fuel burns off.
Sten Wallstrom is flat out down Park Straight, currently sitting seventh on the timing screen with that 151.6.
He's likely checking his top-end gearing there. You want to make sure you're not bouncing off the limiter before you even reach the braking zone.
David Constable Barry is stretching the car's legs on Park Straight, but 25 minutes into this practice, we're still without a timed lap for him.
He looks like he's just checking the aero balance. Sometimes you need to run at speed to make sure the car isn't porpoising or bottoming out in the quick stuff.
Constable Barry is on the gas down Park Straight now, but still 0 on the timing sheet with just under 25 minutes left.
He might be doing an out-in lap just to check the car's vitals. If the temps aren't right, you're better off heading back to the garage early.
Jimmy Lindo is wide open on Park Straight, holding 3rd on the charts with that 148.9.
He is definitely in a groove. That section requires a lot of patience. If you try to hustle the car too much there, you will just cook the rears and lose all your drive onto the next straight.
Jimmy Lindo is making the most of Park Straight now, staying in P3 with his 148.9.
He's keeping things very tidy. No need to throw the car around when you're just trying to gauge where the grip is under power.
Sten Wallstrom stays in P7 with that 151.6, just under 24 minutes left for him to find a bit more pace. Neil Constable Barry is navigating his way through Mansfield, still without a time on the board as we dip into the final 23 minutes of practice. Bjorn Graham slips to 9th with a 151.6, and he's flat out down Park Straight as we head into the business end of practice. Sten Wallstrom is down into 10th now, still sitting on that 151.6 with 22 minutes left for him to improve. Jimmy Lindo is navigating the hairpin now, still sitting comfortably in P3 with that 148.9 as we tick toward the final 20 minutes.
That hairpin is all about the exit. You have to be so disciplined with the right foot there. If you get greedy and light up the rears, you are just killing your tires for the rest of the stint.
Martin Moll is another one who has yet to post a flyer on the timing sheets with 21 minutes remaining.
He is likely looking for a balance on the brakes. You need a lot of confidence in the front end to trail brake into those slow corners without the rears wanting to step out on you.
Daniel Kosis is carving through the gooseneck now, currently 13th on the board with a 153.8.
He looks like he's still a bit wary on the curves there. You want to be careful with your entry speed, or the car will just wash out on you at the exit.
Kosis is winding through the gooseneck now, holding 13th on the charts with that 153.8.
It's a tricky complex to get right. If you miss the apex by just a hair, you're offline for the next 3 corners. He's still searching for that perfect rhythm.
Nigel Walters slots into P2 with a 148.7. looking incredibly smooth as he threads the needle through the Hall bends.
He is really leaning on the car there. You need total confidence in your front-end bite through those sweeps, otherwise, you are just scrubbing off speed and murdering your tires.
Neil Constable Barry is through the gooseneck now, popping into 8th on the charts with a 1:51.0.
Decent lap for him. He looks very composed, finding the limits without asking too much of the car just yet.
Neil Constable Barry is on the board in 8th with a 1:51.0, currently negotiating the gooseneck.
He's keeping it tidy. At this stage of practice, you want to be finding your braking markers and getting comfortable with the car's rotation on turn-in.
Sten Wallstrom is through Coppice now, currently down in 11th with that 1:51.6.
He is taking a lot of curb there. You want to be careful with your entry speed or the car will just wash out on you at the exit.
Wallstrom's navigating Coppice now, currently holding 11th with his 1:51.6.
He's looking a bit hesitant on the power there. You need a lot of confidence to get the car rotated early and get back on the gas as soon as possible.
Chris Stokes is navigating the hairpin now, still without a time on the board as we dip into the final 18 minutes of practice.
He's being very patient with the throttle. In a slow corner like that, it's so tempting to just stomp on it, but you'll only end up lighting the rears and overheating them for the rest of the lap.
Jareth Hallam's on the sheets in 8th with a 1:50.2 as we enter the final 18 minutes of the session. Jimmy Lindo is making the most of Coppice now, staying in P3 with his 1:48.9.
He's keeping things very tidy. No need to throw the car around when you're just trying to gauge where the grip is under power.
Lindo is working his way through Coppice now, still holding on to 3rd with that 1:48.9.
He looks very settled. You can see he's letting the car run out to the exit curbs, using every inch of the track to maintain his momentum.
Jareth Hallam's on the gas down Park Straight now, currently 8th on the timing screen with that 1:50.2.
He's likely checking his top-end gearing there. You want to make sure you're not bouncing off the limiter before you even reach the braking zone.
Jareth Hallam's flat out down Park Straight now, staying in 8th with a 1:50.2.
He's looking very composed. You can see he's hitting his marks consistently and finding those extra tenths as he gains confidence.
John Boontakis slips to 4th on the sheets with a 1:49.1, holding on to that spot as we tick past the 40-minute mark.
It's about data gathering now. He'll be watching his tire temperatures and making sure the car doesn't feel too loose through the quicker sections.
Boontakis is down into 4th now with a 1:49.1 with just over 16 minutes to go in this practice.
He's likely working through a long-run simulation. You can't just chase qualifying trim all session. You need to know how the car will behave when the fuel burns off.
Elliot Norton's on the sheets in 9th with a 1:50.9 as we enter the final 16 minutes of the session. Neil Constable Barry is down into 11th now with a 1:51.0, with just over 15 minutes to go in this practice. Nigel Walters is stretching the car's legs through the park section, holding on to 2nd with his 1:48.7. Joel Lemrich is working through Mansfield now, sitting in 15th with a 1:56.7 as the clock ticks under 15 minutes. Chris Stokes is through the gooseneck now, but he's one of the few still looking to get a time on the board with 14 minutes left. Adam Tyus is biding his time, no time lap yet, with 13 minutes left in the session. Dominic Fauvargue holding 5th on the charts with that 1:49.0 as we enter the final 13 minutes of the session.
Looks very settled. You can see he's letting the car run out to the exit curbs, using every inch of the track to maintain his momentum.
Fauvargue sitting in 5th with a 1:49.0, a solid showing with 13 minutes left on the clock.
He's definitely found a rhythm. Now it's just about fine-tuning those braking markers and making sure the car's balanced for the longer runs.
Chris Stokes is stretching the car's legs on Park Straight, but with only 12 minutes left, he is really leaving it late to get a banker lap on the board. John Bontakis slips to 7th with a 1:49.1 with just 12 minutes left for him to move back up the sheets.
He is likely checking his mid-corner speeds and seeing where he can find those extra tenths over the next 12 minutes.
Bontakis is down into 7th now with a 1:49.1 with just 12 minutes to go in this practice.
He's likely working through a long-run simulation. You can't just chase qualifying trim all session. You need to know how the car will behave when the fuel burns off.
David Constable-Berry jumps up to 5th on the sheets with a 1:48.8, currently through the Mansfield section.
He is definitely in a groove. That section requires a lot of patience. If you try to hustle the car too much there, you will just cook the rears and lose all your drive onto the next straight.
David Constable-Berry puts himself 5th with a 1:48.8, currently working his way through Mansfield.
He looks very comfortable. No need for him to go hunting for lap time right now. It is more about seeing how long those tires will last before they fall off a cliff.
Martin Mal jumps into 4th on the sheets with a 1:48.8, currently through the Chris Curve section.
He's definitely found his rhythm. That's a huge step up in pace, nearly 2 seconds ahead of his previous best.
Martin Mal's sitting 4th now with a 1:48.8, currently winding through Chris Curve.
He's looking very composed. You can see he's hitting his marks consistently and finding those extra tenths as he gains confidence.
Neil Constable-Berry is down into 12th now with a 1:51.0 with just over 10 minutes to go in this practice. Daniel Kosis is on the gas down Park Straight now, currently 10th on the timing screen with that 1:50.1. Nigel Walters is through Chris Curve now, holding on to fourth with his 148.7. Elliot Norton's on the sheets in ninth with a 149.8 as we enter the final 9 minutes of the session. Tim Weller is through the gooseneck now, but with only 8 minutes left, he is really leaving it late to get a banker lap on the board.
He is taking a lot of curb there. You want to be careful with your entry speed, or the car will just wash out on you at the exit.
Tim Weller's winding through the gooseneck now, still without a time on the board with 8 minutes left.
He's likely just gathering data. When I was testing, I'd often spend the first half of a session just checking aero balance before ever attempting a flyer.
Walters is flat out on Park Straight, currently holding on to fifth with that 148.7 as we enter the final 8 minutes of practice. Adam Tyus is through Hall Bends now, still looking for his first timed lap with 7 minutes remaining.
He is really leaning on the car there. You need total confidence in your front end bite through those sweeps, otherwise you are just scrubbing off speed and murdering your tires.
Adam Tyus is navigating the Hall Bends now, still without a time on the board with 7 minutes left.
He's likely just gathering data. When I was testing, I'd often spend the first half of a session just checking aero balance before ever attempting a flyer.
Nigel Walters remains in fifth with his 148.7 as we head into the final 7 minutes of this practice session. Adam Tyus is through the park section now, but still 0 on the timing sheet with just over 6 minutes left. Rich Snape is cresting the mountain now, but with only 5 minutes left, he is really leaving it late to get a banker lap on the board. Jimmy Lindo is winding through Chris Curve now, staying in third with a 148.2. Jareth Hallam's sitting 8th with a 149.3, a solid showing with 4 minutes left on the clock.
He's definitely found a rhythm. Now it's just about fine-tuning those braking markers and making sure the car's balanced for the longer runs.
Jareth Hallam's on the sheets in 8th with a 149.3 as we enter the final 5 minutes of the session.
He's looking very composed. You can see he's hitting his marks consistently and finding those extra tenths as he gains confidence.
Tim Weller finally gets a flyer on the board with a 150.3, slotting into 11th as he pops over the top of the mountain.
It's such a technical spot to find time. If the car isn't perfectly settled as it goes light over that crest, you'll be fighting the steering all the way down the other side.
Nigel Walters is through the gooseneck now, currently 5th on the timing screen with that 148.4.
He is taking a lot of curb there. You want to be careful with your entry speed or the car will just wash out on you at the exit.
Walters is winding through the gooseneck now, staying in 5th with a 148.4.
He's looking very composed. You can see he's hitting his marks consistently and finding those extra tenths as he gains confidence.
Elliot Norton's holding down P9 with a 149.8 as we enter the final 3 minutes of the session. Neil Constable Barry is stretching the car's legs on Park Straight, but still holding 12th on the charts with that 150.5. David Constable Barry is through barn now, currently 4th on the sheets with a 148.3.
He is definitely in a groove. That section requires a lot of patience. If you try to hustle the car too much there, you will just cook the rears and lose all your drive onto the next straight.
David Constable Barry sitting 4th with a 148.3, currently negotiating barn.
He's looking very composed. You can see he's hitting his marks consistently and finding those extra tenths as he gains confidence.
Sten Wallstrom is flat out down Park Straight now, currently 15th on the timing screen with that 151.6. Nigel Walters is through Hall Bends now, holding on a 5th with his 148.4. Jody Fannin is winding through Chris Curve now, holding on to 2nd with his 147.7 as we enter the final minute of practice. Sten Wallstrom is down into 16th now with a 151.6 as the clock ticks down to the final few seconds of this practice. Rich Snape hangs onto P10 by the skin of his teeth with a 1:49.99, right as the clock ticks down to the final few seconds. Adam Tyus manages to slot into 15th with a 1:51.4, cutting it very fine with less than a minute on the clock.
He really needed that banker lap. It is about 5 seconds off the pace, but at least he has got a baseline to work from before qualifying.
Neil Constable Barry is down 11th with a 1:49.8, with just over a minute left in this practice.
He is likely checking his mid-corner speeds and seeing where he can find those extra tenths over the next minute.
Neil Constable Barry just improved his time to a 1:49.8, keeping him 11th as the clock winds down.
He's finding time late in the day. It's often when the track is at its grippiest that you find that last bit of confidence to really lean on the tires.
John Bountigis is cresting the mountain, holding on to 5th place as we hit the 90-second mark.
He is tidy through there. You can easily lose the rear if you're too aggressive on the throttle while the car is light over that jump.
Martin Moll is ruling the roost in P1 as he summits the mountain, holding that impressive 1:47.3. Green light is on at Cadwell Park, and with the wind at 8 today, precision is going to be the name of the game for this qualifying session.
That breeze might not seem like much, but through the high-speed sections here, it's enough to push the car half a tire width off the line if you aren't careful.
Constable Barry is working his way through Charlie's now, just 5.5 minutes left to make these laps count.
He needs to be clinical. One slip in this wind, and he's wasted a lap he simply doesn't have time to replace.
Constable Barry is opening up the taps on Park Straight, looking to put a marker down with 5 minutes left on the clock.
He's right at the limit of the rev range there. You've got to be brave on the brakes at the end of this run, especially if that wind catches the rear wing.
Fovark sweeping through Chris Curve now, still looking to get a time on the board with under 5 minutes remaining.
You really feel the lateral G's through here. If the car isn't settled, you're just scrubbing off speed for the next sector.
Still no time on the board for Constable Barry, and we are well past the halfway mark of this session.
He's got to get a move on. If there's a yellow flag or a mistake now, he's looking at a start from the back of the grid.
Constable Barry crosses the line, but the timing screen hasn't moved. He's still sitting in 18th with no time recorded.
That lap must have been voided. He's got less than 4 minutes to find some space and get a legal time on the board.
Constable Barry finally gets a time on the board, and it is a flyer, straight to the top with a 150.4.
Talk about leaving it late. He had to nail that lap after the earlier issues, and he has absolutely hooked it up.
Adam Taya still hasn't posted a time, and the clock is ticking down toward 90 seconds.
This is high-stakes stuff. He's only got one shot at this, and if he finds any traffic, he's starting from the back of the grid.
Wallstrom is cutting it incredibly fine here. Less than 100 seconds to get a time on the board.
The pressure in that cockpit must be immense. One lockup, or a wide exit, and he's starting from the very back of the pack.
Constable Barry is through the gooseneck, and he is over a tenth up on his best time.
He is currently 8th, but that delta suggests he is hunting for a much better starting spot. He just needs to keep it tidy through this final sector.
Maul is through Mansfield, and he is absolutely flying. 4/10 up on his own pole position time.
He's already sitting in P1 and still finding more time. That car looks like it's on rails through the technical sections.
Jody Fannin is absolutely on a charge. 2/10 up on his personal best with the clock dipping under 45 seconds.
He's sitting P3 right now, but that delta says he's hunting for a front row start. He just needs to keep his composure through these final turns.
Fannin snatches the top spot. A 148.1 with only 6 seconds left on the clock.
Talk about a clinical finish. He found over half a second on that lap. That's pure commitment through the high-speed stuff.
Walters is on his final flyer with 10 seconds to go, and look at that delta. He is dead, even with his personal best.
Incredible consistency, but he's sitting in 6th and needs to find a fraction of a second in these last few corners if he wants to move up the grid.
Graham is lighting up the timing screens on this final attempt, nearly 7/10 up on his current best.
He's sitting in 15th right now, but a gain like that is going to catapult him up the order if he can just keep his nose clean to the line.
Maul is on an absolute mission to reclaim pole, 3/10 up on his best with less than a minute to go.
He's finding time exactly where he needs it. If he keeps this momentum through the final complex, Fannin's time is under serious threat.
Mull absolutely smashes the timing beams. A 147.7 puts him right back on top of the pile.
That is a massive statement. Breaking into the 47s around here requires absolute precision through the technical sections, and he's just found the sweet spot.
Kocius is nearly 2/10 down on his best with under 2 minutes left. He's sitting 12th right now and needs to find something special.
He might be sacrificing this lap to set up a better run for the next one. You have to get your positioning through the final corners perfect to start a fresh flyer with speed.
The tension is thick enough to cut with a knife here at Cadwell Park as the pack waits for those lights to drop.
Conditions are perfect with barely a breath of wind, but this circuit is narrow and unforgiving. There is zero room for error once we get moving.
Jody Fannin lines up on the front row in that MK1 Cortina, just waiting for the signal.
It is a handful on those skinny tires, but Fannin is a pro. He knows exactly how to make that Lotus dance through these tight corners.
Rich Snape sits right behind the leaders in fourth, making it an all-Cortina second row.
He is the leading am on the grid today, but he cannot afford to be polite if he wants to stay with the pro guys into the first turn.
Dominic Fovarg rounds out the top 5, and you can bet he's looking to pick off the leaders the moment those lights go out.
Starting on the third row here is a test of nerves. Fovarg needs a clinical launch to keep from getting boxed in by the pack behind.
Nigel Walters lines up in 7th, and in a MK1 Cortina, he will need every bit of that agility to navigate the opening lap chaos.
Jareth Hallam holds that 7th spot, and he will be looking for a gap the second things get tight into the first turn.
Neil Constable-Berry starts from P9, right in the thick of what's going to be a very busy mid-pack scrap.
In the Cortina, you're basically broadside through half the corners here, so starting in 9th means he needs to be incredibly precise with his positioning early on.
Daniel Kosic starts from 11th, and the Hungarian will have his work cut out for him in such a congested mid-pack.
Starting deep in the field at Cadwell is a nightmare. Kosic needs to be aggressive early because passing opportunities are at a premium here.
Jimmy Lindo starts down in 13th, right in the danger zone if things get messy at the start. Bontaka starts from 14th, and the Greek driver has a serious climb ahead of him on this narrow circuit.
It's a bit of a lottery that far back. John will be watching the cars ahead like a hawk, ready to pounce if anyone gets it sideways early on.
Bjorn Graham rounds out the order in 15th, and it is a long, narrow road ahead for the German from the back of the grid.
Seeing a pro like Chris Stokes starting all the way back in 17th is a real shock. He'll be carving through the field the second he sees an opening.
Wallstrom brings up the rear in 18th, staring down a very long line of Cortinas on the run to the first corner. Martin Mole claims the top spot on the grid, and in a field this tight, that clear track ahead is worth its weight in gold.
He has the best view, but also the biggest target on his back. Leading the pack into the first turn here on full tires is never easy.
The lights are out, and we are racing at Cadwell Park. Martin Mole gets a decent launch from the front.
Look at the pack swarm behind him. Everyone's trying to find a gap where there isn't one on this narrow strip of tarmac.
Mole has managed to hold the lead through the first sector, but he has got a mirror full of Cortinas right now.
The pressure is immense. In my experience, the first lap here is all about managing that sliding rear end while trying to block every possible gap.
Hallam's had a flyer. He's already picked off 2 cars to jump up into 6th place. Wallstrom is not hanging around. He's up to 16th already after that start.
Sten's keeping his nose clean and picking off the stragglers while everyone's still sorting themselves out.
Wallstrom is making decent progress through the lower half of the field, moving up to 16th.
He's keeping his nose clean while the mid-pack is busy bumping doors. That's exactly how you pick up places on a lap like this. Elliot Norton's going the wrong way, though. Dropped a place to 7th, and he will be gutted with that start.
Norton is stuck to the back of Hallam now, only 4 tenths in it, as he tries to reclaim that 6th spot. Funnen is absolutely hounding the leader. He's within 2 tenths of Martin Mole as they fly through lap 1.
He is showing his nose everywhere. 9 minutes of this, and the tires will be screaming.
Fannin just slipped back a fraction, but 3 tenths is still well within striking distance at this stage. Tyus is glued to the bumper of Chris Stokes into the park section, only 2/10 back. Tyus has done it. He's climbed up to 8th and put Chris Stokes in his rearview mirror by 3/10.
Great move from Tyus there. Seized the opportunity, and now he's making a bit of breathing room for himself.
Stokes has hit back immediately. Tyus is down to 9th, and there's absolutely nothing between them now.
They are door to door, and on a narrow track like this, that's just pure bravery from both of them.
Hallam's in 7th, and he's not letting Norton get away, only 2/10 back from 6th.
This is exactly where the race gets won or lost. You can't let the car ahead settle, you have to keep poking that nose in until they blink.
Hallam's dropped off the pace slightly there. The gap to Elliott Norton is out to 8/10 now. Joel Emmerich is in 11th, and he's got Kosic in his sights with a 4/10 gap between them.
These Cortinas are so soft, it's about not overdriving the car to try and bridge that gap.
Wait, Lemrick is up to 10th, and Kosic has plummeted all the way back to 14th.
Something has definitely gone wrong for Kosic there. 4.5 seconds between them now. That's a massive swing in such a short space of time.
Bounticus is only 3/10 back from Joel Lemrich as he pushes into 11th place. Bontakis has managed to nose ahead of Lemrick for 10th. There is absolutely nothing in it between those two.
Elliott Norton's on a charge, sitting in 6th and just 3/10 off Fovarg's gearbox now.
Fovarg's managed to stretch that gap slightly to 4/10 now, but Norton is hanging in there.
He won't let him go. Every time I've been in that position, I'm just waiting for the car ahead to make one tiny mistake.
Norton's had a disaster. He's plummeted to 8th, and that gap to Fovarg has blown out to nearly 3 seconds.
He must have had a massive moment. At a place like Cadwell, if you lose your rhythm for even a second, the cars behind will just swarm all over you.
Lindo is chasing down Kosic through Hall Bends, only 4/10 in it as they head into the next corner. Lindo's dropped back a fraction to 5/10 from Kosic as he tries to maintain that pressure. Fanning is holding steady in 2nd, trailing Martin Moll by only 5/10 of a second. Fannon's fallen back slightly to 6/10, but the lead is still within his grasp. These MK1 Cortinas are just pure entertainment, aren't they? They spend more time on 3 wheels than 4.
They really do. It's all about weight transfer. If you're too aggressive on the turn-in, that inside front just reaches for the sky and you lose all your mid-corner speed.
We saw Elliott Norton find that out the hard way earlier. One slip, and you're swallowed up by the pack before you can even catch the slide.
That is the brutal reality of Cadwell Park. It's essentially a paved goat track. There is no such thing as a small mistake here. Everything has a massive consequence.
Martin Moll is making it look easy at the front for now, but Jody Fannin is absolutely relentless. He hasn't let that gap get over a second the whole time.
Fannin is playing the long game. He's putting the car in Moll's mirrors at every braking zone just to see if he can force a lockup. It's high-stakes poker at 100 miles an hour.
Lindo is practically touching Kosic's bumper as they launch over the mountain. There's barely a 1/10 of a second in it. Lindo has stolen 14th place from Kosic. They're absolutely neck and neck as they hurtle through the next section.
He really took his chance there. That's exactly how you get things done around here.
Lindo and Kosic are really trading paint back there. It is great to see such commitment for 14th place.
That is what VVS is all about. Even if you are not fighting for the podium, you are fighting for every inch of tarmac like your life depends on it.
And while they are busy swapping spots, Martin Mol is still under massive pressure from Fannin at the head of the field.
When you have got a driver like Fannin behind you, the mirror becomes your biggest enemy. You start looking back more than you look forward.
With only 4 minutes left on the clock, plus that extra lap, the strategy has to shift from management to all-out defense or attack.
Exactly. You stop worrying about the tires and start thinking about where you can place the car to be as wide as possible through those narrow sections.
Norton is on a mission to climb back up after that mistake. He's just 2 tenths behind Jareth Hallam for 7th.
He's definitely found his rhythm again. If he can get past Hallam here, he's got a real chance to claw back some of that lost ground.
Hallam's managed to pull a tiny bit of breathing room out to 4 tenths now, but Norton is still lurking. Joel Lemrich is 3 tenths behind Bountakis as they battle it out for 10th. Bountakis is holding his ground for now and has even managed to pull out another 10th from Lemrich.
He's got his line and he's sticking to it. Bountakis is making it very difficult for anyone to find a gap.
Just watching the body roll on these Cortinas through the turns, it is like they are trying to touch the door handles to the tarmac.
You have got to be so careful not to hook a wheel on the grass here. Because the suspension is so soft, it will just pitch you straight into the barriers.
Especially through the mountain, the way they get airborne and then have to settle the car instantly for the next turn.
It is a heart-in-mouth moment every single lap. You are effectively a passenger for a split second while you wait for those tires to find the road again.
Martin Mol has been incredibly composed out front, despite Jody Fannin basically living in a slipstream since the start.
Mol is making that car look wider than it actually is. It is a masterclass in defensive positioning without actually weaving on the straights.
Further back, John Bountakis is having to get really creative to keep Joel Lemrich behind him in that fight for 10th.
Bountakis is using the classic trick of slowing the mid-corner speed to kill the momentum of the car behind. It is incredibly frustrating to drive against.
It really highlights how much of a chess match this is, even when the cars are sliding all over the place.
People think classic racing is just about the spectacle, but the mental load is massive when the car is moving around under you constantly.
We are entering the final minutes now, and you can sense the urgency from everyone from P1 down to the back of the pack.
This is where we see who has kept their tires in the best shape. If those rears are gone, they are going to be passengers in these final few turns.
Fannin is keeping the pressure on Mol, holding steady at just 6 tenths back as he looks for any sign of a mistake from the leader. Martin Mol has managed to find another couple of tenths. The gap is up to 8 tenths now, but Fannin isn't done yet.
He's just managed to break that slipstream slightly, and that will be a huge relief for Mol as he heads into the final stages.
Bountakis has moved up to 10th, and he's chasing down Adam Tyus, only half a second back from 9th. Bountakis is really closing in now, only 2 tenths back from Tyus. This battle for 9th is heating up. Nigel Walters is in 12th, and he's only 4 tenths behind Joel Lemrich as they battle for 11th.
Walters has been patient today, but with time running out, he's going to have to make a move soon if he wants to move up.
Walters is still glued to the back of Lemrich's car, keeping that 4-tenth gap exactly where it was. Lemrich is holding on to 11th, but Nigel Walters is right there, only 2 tenths back.
He is defending for his life right now. You can see the car dancing under braking as he tries to cover off every possible line.
Lemrich has managed to stretch that gap to Walters out to 3/10 now.
He's just managed to get a slightly better exit out of that last corner. Every little bit counts at this stage of the race.
Montakis holds 10th for now, with Lemrich breathing down his neck only 3/10 behind.
It's a proper train of Cortinas here. If one of them makes a mistake, they could all lose out.
Montakis has managed to open up a bit of a gap. He's now 7/10 clear of Joel Lemrich. Looking at the way these cars are being driven, it is clear the limit is paper-thin today.
It is that classic Cortina suspension. If you are too soft, the car rolls forever, but too stiff, and you are just bouncing off the track at the mountain.
We have seen a lot of movement in the mid-pack, especially Montakis, doing a stellar job holding on to 10th under that constant pressure.
I have been in those boots. When your mirrors are full of chrome and headlights, the instinct is to over-defend, but he's staying remarkably calm.
Up front, Martin Mol is still leading, but Fannin has been his shadow for the entire race.
That is the pro mindset. Fannin is just waiting for that one moment where Mol misses an apex by an inch. One lockup is all it takes.
It is fascinating how the classes are mixing it up. AM drivers like Walters are really holding their own against the Pro-Ams.
Consistency is everything here. You don't necessarily need the fastest lap, you just need to stay off the grass and keep your momentum up.
The mechanical stress must be peaking though. These engines have been screaming for nearly 10 minutes straight.
And those rear tires will be feeling like they are on ice by now. You have to be so delicate with the throttle to avoid a spin.
We are heading into the final act of this race where every tiny correction matters more than the last.
This is where the fatigue hits. Your arms are heavy and your focus wavers. But you cannot afford to back off even a fraction.
Martin Mol crosses the line to take the win. A flawless, lights to flag victory for the Dutchman. Jody Fannin takes a hard-earned second place, having never let the leader out of his sight.
He pushed Mol all the way. A brilliant performance, even if he couldn't quite find that final opening.
David Constable-Barry follows them home to complete the podium in third.
He stayed clean and consistent throughout. That is a well-deserved result in such a competitive field.
Rich Snape leads the rest of the pack home in fourth, followed by Stokes, Fovarg, and Norton to round out the top 7. Hallam takes 8th, with Tyus, Montakis, and Lemrich crossing the line right behind him to finish a frantic race at Cadwell Park. Walters, Neil Constable-Barry, Coaches, and Weller bring it home to complete the midfield order. And Sten Wallstrom crosses the line to take 16th, bringing an end to a hard-fought day on track.
Every one of these drivers will be feeling that tonight. Cadwell never gives you an easy lap.
Sten Wallstrom is ducking into the pit lane here with just 3 minutes of the session remaining.
That is a tough break this late in the race. Hopefully the crew can get him back out so he can at least see the checkered flag.
Engines are screaming here at Cadwell Park, and that 12-mile-per-hour wind is just one more variable for the drivers to juggle as we wait for the lights. Tim Weller has put that MK1 Cortina right on the front row in P2, a massive statement for an AM-class driver.
He's punched well above his weight there. He'll need to be incredibly disciplined with his lines if he wants to keep the lead pack behind him on this narrow circuit.
Neil Constableberry locks in P4, another MK1 Cortina right at the sharp end of this grid.
The AM drivers are really showing the pros how it's done today. Constableberry needs a clinical start to stay clear of the chaos into the first turn.
Netherlands. Joel Lemrich rounds out the third row in P6, keeping the pressure on the pro drivers in that MK1 Cortina.
He's in the thick of it there. Starting mid-pack at a place as tight as Cadwell requires absolute precision to avoid a lap 1 tangle.
John Boontakis puts the Greek flag in P7, sitting right in the middle of a very aggressive AM pack in that MK1 Cortina. Jareth Allam's lining up in 9th, the highest-placed Pro-Am driver today in that MK1 Cortina.
He's got his work cut out for him in the mid-pack. At Cadwell, if you don't get your nose clean through the first few corners, you're just a passenger.
Dominic Fovard lines up in 11th, sitting right in the belly of the beast for the start.
It's a nightmare starting there. You've got cars surrounding you and absolutely nowhere to go if someone up ahead misses their braking point.
Chris Stokes is starting back in P12, and as a pro driver, he's going to be looking to slice through this field as quickly as possible.
He's out of position based on his class, which is a dangerous place to be. You're fighting drivers who might not be as predictable on the brakes as you'd like.
Rich Snape starts from 13th in that MK1 Cortina, right in the danger zone for the launch.
It's a mountain to climb from there. If you're buried that deep at Cadwell, you're just hoping everyone ahead gets through the first complex cleanly.
Jody Fannin is buried back in 14th, and for a pro driver, that is a mountain of work to do through this tight Cadwell layout. Martijn Mol starting down in 15th for the Dutch. That is a long way back for a pro in this field.
It's a nightmare for him. You spend the whole first lap just hoping the cars ahead don't bottleneck and leave you with nowhere to go.
17th on the grid for Jimmy Lindo, and that Pro-Am driver has a massive task ahead to pick his way through this traffic. Lights out, and we are racing at Cadwell. It's a clean launch for the front row, but look at that swarm behind them.
Weller's really digging in, but these Cortinas are a handful on cold tires. You've got to be so patient through this opening complex.
Sten Wallstrom is going backwards. He started on pole, but he's already been mugged, falling down to 3rd.
He bogged down on the launch. In these Cortinas, once you lose that initial bite, the rest of the pack is all over you.
Joel Lemrich is on a flyer. 2 places gained and up to 4th already.
Incredible start from the Dutchman. He's found the gaps while everyone else was busy looking in their mirrors.
Jody Fannin is on a mission, slicing through the mid-pack and already up 3 spots into 11th.
That's the pro experience showing through. He's spotted the gaps while others were still figuring out their braking markers on cold tires.
Check the timing screens. Rich Snape has come from the back of the grid in 30th, and he's already up to 15th.
15 places on the opening lap? At Cadwell, that's like threading a needle while someone's shaking the table. He's found gaps that simply shouldn't exist in that Cortina.
Snape's charge has brought him right to the tail of James Allen. Half a second is all that separates them now.
Allen's got to be sweating. Having a car that gained 15 places in 1 lap looming in your mirrors is enough to make anyone miss an apex.
Moll is glued to the back of Fanon. That gap is literally 0 as they cross the line to finish lap 1.
They've both sliced through the pack together, but now they're tripping over each other. Fanon can't afford even a slight lift, or Moll will be past him in a heartbeat.
Martin Moll gets his nose ahead. He's picked off Jody Fanon and moved into 11th, but the gap is still non-existent.
He made that look easy. It's a classic slipstream and outbrake maneuver into that turn, but Fanon's not going to let him get away easily.
Stan Wallstrom has plummeted down to 18th as they head through Park. What a disastrous opening lap for our pole sitter.
He's got Bjorn Graham right in his sights, but the mental recovery is the hardest part now. You go from leading to fighting for crumbs in the space of a mile.
Wallstrom's finally making up some ground, climbing up to 17th after that early shock.
He's still chasing Bjorn Graham, but the pace looks like it's finally coming to him. He's starting to find his rhythm in that MK1 Cortina.
Allen's got a mirror full of Jimmy Lindo as they start lap 2, only a 1/10 of a second between them.
Lindo's Pro-Am grid is on full display here. He's making that Cortina look very wide in Allen's mirrors, just waiting for the smallest hesitation into the next braking zone.
Wait, James Allen's dropped back to 15th. Lindo's fallen back a bit, but there's a massive shuffle happening here.
He might have had a wide moment or a missed shift on the main straight. That gap to Lindo's opened up slightly, but he's clearly lost ground to others.
David Constable-Berry is hanging on to 10th, but Adam Tyus is right there behind him.
Tyus has picked up a lot of momentum, and Constable-Berry is looking for that defensive line early. You can't leave any doors open at Cadwell.
Jody Fanon has blasted his way up to 7th. He's absolutely flying on this second lap, and now he's looming on Park Street.
He's caught Dominic Fovarg in no time. That 1:51.862 is a proper pro lap time, and he's clearly the fastest car on the circuit right now.
Fanon gets it done. He's picked off Dominic Fovarg to move into 6th, and he is absolutely on a tear through this field.
Clinical stuff from Jody. He used that momentum from the straight to force the issue, but Fovarg is sticking to his bumper. Only a 1/10 of a second in it as they head into the next complex.
Dominic Fovarg is sticking to the back of Fanon like glue, and look at that lap time, 1 minute 51 seconds and 7 milliseconds.
He's actually quicker than the car ahead on that last tour. It's one thing to get overtaken, but to stay within 2/10 shows Fovarg has the pace to take it back.
Martin Moll is right in the mix through the Hall bends, and he's only 3/10 off Dominic Fovarg in 7th.
This is the most technical part of the track, and Moll's got that Cortina dancing on the edge of its tires to keep up the pressure.
Martin Moll is closing that gap even further now, down to 2/10 on the back of Dominic Fovarg.
He's really putting the hammer down as they finish the second lap. He's found some real pace through those tight sections to stick right with the battle ahead.
Daniel Kosick is hunting for David Constable-Berry. That 1 minute 53 seconds and 7 milliseconds is keeping him right in the fight for 9th.
He's only 4/10 back. Constable-Berry has a mountain of experience, but Kosick is looking very hungry through the faster corners.
Wait, the gap between Kosick and David Constable-Berry has ballooned out to 8/10.
He might have had a little wide moment, or missed a shift, which has really given Constable-Berry some breathing room in 9th.
Neil Constable-Berry is absolutely flying in 4th, and he's just set a 1 minute 50 seconds and 2 milliseconds.
He's in P4 and only 5/10 off Chris Stokes in 3rd. If he can keep that pace up, he'll be on the podium before the next lap's out.
Jody Fanon is on an absolute tear, dropping a 1 minute 49 seconds and 1 millisecond on that last lap to close right up on Elliot Norton.
That is a blistering pace, the fastest we have seen today. He is finding time in places others are just surviving, and that half-second gap to 5th is going to evaporate in no time.
Martin Mull is absolutely relentless. He has just punched in a personal best 149.4, and he is practically inside Jody Fannon's exhaust pipe.
0.3 of a second is nothing at these speeds. Mull is using every inch of the curbs to keep that momentum up, and he's forcing Fannon to start thinking about defensive lines already.
Martin Mull is closing that gap even more now, just 0.2 behind Jody Fannon.
He's keeping the pressure right on as they head into the next complex. This is proper wheel-to-wheel stuff through the tightest sections.
Jody Fannon is holding on by his fingernails through the park section. Martin Mull is absolutely hounding him.
0.2 of a second is nothing. Fannon's got to be perfect on the brakes here because Martin is just waiting for that back end to step out even once.
Martin Mull is really bringing the fight now. He's just punched in a 148.6.
0.3 back from Fannon, but he's making every lap look like a qualifying run. He's found a second over his previous best, which is just incredible in these conditions.
Mull is carving even more time out of that gap, down to just 0.2 now as he shadows Fannon through this section.
He is really leaning on that Cortina to find every thousandth. Fannon can't see anything but Martin's grill in his mirrors right now, and that is a massive distraction when you are trying to hit your marks.
David Constable-Berry is absolutely flying in ninth. He's just set at 1 minute 48 seconds and 4 milliseconds, and he's within striking distance of Dominic Fovard.
0.4 is all that separates those two as they cross the line for lap 5. Constable-Berry is clearly the faster car, and Fovard has some real defending to do here.
Martin Mull is right on the tail of Jody Fannon again as they finish lap 5.
0.2 of a second between them. It's a game of chess at 100 miles per hour now. Mull's clearly got the pace, but Fannon is holding him off with some smart defensive driving.
Wait, the gap has just opened up slightly. Jody Fannon's back ahead of Martin Mull by 0.3.
He might have had a little wide moment, or missed a shift on the run up the hill, which has given Fannon just that tiny bit of breathing room.
Chris Stokes is breathing down the neck of Joel Limrich, just 0.3 between them as they hunt for that second step on the podium.
Stokes has the faster best lap in his pocket. He's just waiting for Limrich to over-rotate that Cortina through one of these tight bends so he can pounce.
David Constable-Berry is right on the tail of Dominic Fovard in ninth. That gap is down to just 0.3.
He's been working on this for a few laps now. Fovard is doing a great job of keeping the door shut, but David is just looking for that one small mistake.
David Constable-Berry makes the move. He's jumped up into 8th position and he's already looking at the car ahead.
He made that look easy. Dominic Fovard's clearly having a hard time defending right now, and that extra bit of pace from Constable-Berry has really given him the edge.
Chris Stokes is still hanging on to third, and that gap to Joel Limrich is out to 0.5 now as they start lap 7.
He might have had a little wide moment or missed a shift on the run up the hill, which has given Limrich just that tiny bit of breathing room.
Stokes has erased that gap. He is literally on the bumper of Joel Limrich, 0.1 of a second in it.
He found something special in that last sector. Limrich is going to have to make that Cortina as wide as the track itself to keep Chris behind him now.
Martin Mull has moved up into 6th, and he's right on the tail of Jody Fannon again.
0.3 of a second between them. It's a game of chess at 100 miles per hour now. Mull's clearly got the pace, but Fannon is holding him off with some smart defensive driving.
Stokes is refusing to let Lemrick breathe, keeping that gap at a mere 0.3 as they fight for the second step of the podium.
He's lurking, just waiting for Joel to get a bit too greedy with the throttle. One slide from that Cortina ahead, and Stokes will be through.
Joel Lemrich has managed to stretch that lead back out to 0.3 of a second over Stokes.
It is that classic accordion effect. Chris just could not quite find the momentum to make a move that time into the braking zone.
Martin Mahl has just punched in a 1:48.4, his best of the race, and he's closing in on Jody Fannin again.
He is really leaning on that Cortina to find every thousandth. Fannin can't see anything but Martin's grill in his mirrors right now, and that is a massive distraction when you are trying to hit your marks.
Jody Fannin has just punched in his best of the race, a 1 minute 48 seconds and 4 milliseconds, and he's right on the tail of Elliot Norton.
0.3 of a second between them. Fannin is really showing his class now, finding time even as he defends from those behind.
Wait, Jody Fannin has dropped back into 6th. He was just on Norton's tail, but he's gone backwards.
He might have had a little wide moment or missed a shift on the run up the hill, which has given Norton just that tiny bit of breathing room.
David Constable Berry is absolutely flying in 8th, and he's only 0.3 off Dominic Fauvargue now.
He's been chipping away at that gap, and Fauvargue is looking very defensive through the technical sections of this track.
David Constable Berry makes the move. He's climbed into 7th, and he's already looking at the car ahead.
He made that look easy. Fauvargue clearly had no answer for that dive into the turn, but now Constable Berry has over half a second to bridge to the next pack.
Tim Weller is in the home stretch now, 20 seconds from the flag, and he has absolutely broken the spirit of the chasing pack.
A 4-second lead at Cadwell is an eternity. He's just got to keep it tidy through these last few turns. The hard work is already done.
Tim Weller takes the win at Cadwell Park. He started in 2nd, but that was a dominant drive once he found his rhythm.
He earned that one. The pace was relentless, and he managed those tires perfectly to pull out that gap at the end.
Joel Lemrich takes the 2nd step on the podium. Coming from 6th on the grid is an incredible achievement today.
He really found the pace in that middle stint. If the race was a few laps longer, we might have seen him take it to Weller.
Chris Stokes takes the 3rd step on the podium. Coming from 12th on the grid is an incredible achievement today.
He really found the pace in that middle stint. If the race was a few laps longer, we might have seen him take it to the leaders.
Martin Mole brings it home in 4th after a sensational climb from 15th, with Fauvargue, Fannin, and David Constable Berry finishing right in his wheel tracks.
That mid-pack was a shark tank today. For Mole and Fannin to make up that much ground on a circuit this narrow is a testament to their patience and racecraft.
Neil Constable Berry crosses in 8th, with Rich Snape completing a marathon climb to take 9th. James Allen and Nigel Walters follow them home to round out the top 11.
Snape really was the star of that secondary pack. To slice through from the back of the field at a circuit this narrow is a masterclass in staying out of trouble while being aggressive.
Bjorn Graham and Jimmy Lindo complete the top 13, with Daniel Caucasus and Elliot Norton following close behind as the mid-pack across the line.
Lindo really worked for that 13th. He spent the whole race with a mirror full of traffic, but he's brought that Cortina home in one piece and in the points.
Adam Tyus and Sten Wallstrom round out the top 17 as they cross the line.
Wallstrom's 17th is a tough one to take after starting on pole, but that's the spirit of the Cortina. One mistake and the pack is gone.
Bontake is working through Coppice now, still looking for his first timed lap of the session, with just over 7 minutes left on the clock. Jody Fannon's opening up the taps on Park Straight, 7 minutes left, and he still hasn't put a number on the board.
He's taking his time to find the rhythm. In practice, you're often just checking if the gear ratios are right for a long run like this before you really push for a flyer.
Lindo's still without a time on the board with under 7 minutes left. He'll be wanting a clean run soon to get those brakes up to temperature. John Boontakas is cutting it fine now, just 6 minutes left in this session, and he's still yet to register a time. Tick-tock for Jareth Hallam. 5.5 minutes left in the session, and he's still a ghost on the timing screen. Jimmy Lindo's working through the hairpin now, 5 minutes left on the clock, and still nothing on the timing screen for him.
He's deep in the corner there. At this stage, he'll be feeling for the grip limit. You don't want to go into qualifying without knowing exactly where that front end is going to bite.
Hallam's really leaving it late, just 4.5 minutes to go, and he still hasn't posted a representative lap. Time is rapidly disappearing for Jody Fannin. Just under 4 minutes left, and he's still searching for a timed lap. Martin Mull's really leaving it to the wire here. Just over 3 minutes left, and still no time on the screens.
The pressure builds when you wait this long. You're desperate to find clear air, but if you fluff the first sector, you've got no safety net left.
Two minutes 54 remaining, and Jareth Hallam is still without a time. He's essentially got one shot at this now. Jimmy Lindo finally puts a banker in, and it is a cracker, straight into P2 with a 148.994.
He left it late, but that is a massive lap. Finding that much pace immediately tells me he is comfortable with the balance right out of the gate.
James Allen is lighting up the timing screen, sitting pretty in P1 as he navigates the hall bends.
He is carrying so much momentum through there. That 1 minute 48 seconds and 6 milliseconds shows he has found the sweet spot with the setup already.
David Constable Berry's cutting it right to the edge. Just 1 minute 43 left to put a number on the board. Fannon's absolutely blitzed it straight to the top of the pile as he works through Mansfield with a 147.196.
He's really found something there. Mansfield is a nightmare for front locking on the way down, but that car looks like it's on rails.
Martin Mole is right against the clock now. 39 seconds left, and he still hasn't posted a time.
He's basically on a one-shot flyer here. If he makes even a tiny mistake, he's going into the next session with zero data on these track conditions.
Seven seconds left on the clock, and David Constable Berry still hasn't posted a time. He's got to cross the line now, or he's going into qualifying blind.
That's a massive gamble. One lockup, or a bit of traffic, and his entire practice program is out the window.
Nigel Walters is right on the bubble here. 24 seconds left to cross that line, or he's finishing practice without a single recorded lap. Constable Berry is picking his way through Mansfield, but look at the clock. Just 56 seconds to go, and he's still a ghost on the timing screen.
He's really putting himself under the pump. At this stage, you're not even looking for a purple lap, you just need to know the car is going to stop where you expect it to.
Lindo is holding on to fifth with that 148.854, just under a minute and a half to find any last-minute improvements.
He'll be happy with that. At this stage, you're just verifying your braking markers and making sure the car isn't doing anything nasty on the limit.
Walters moves into fifth with a 148.830 as he carries the speed through Chris Curve, with just under 2 minutes left in this session. 3.5 minutes left in practice, and Adam Tyus is yet to set a lap time. He's going to need to get moving now if he wants to see how this car is behaving on a flying lap. Walters is picking his way through the park section with a personal best of 1:48.830. That's good for fifth for the time being, with just under 4 minutes left on the clock. Green flag is out of Cadwell Park, and with a 14-knot wind whipping across the circuit, qualifying is going to be a massive test of precision. David Constable-Berry is yet to post a time, and with only 5.5 minutes left in this short shootout, the pressure to get a banker lap in is already mounting. Jimmy Lindo is pinned through Park Straight now, looking to get this session moving with just over 5 minutes on the clock.
He needs to use this run to really get those tires up to temperature. A cold set of rubber at a place this narrow will catch you out before you even reach the first corner.
Joel Lemrich is threading the needle through the gooseneck now, needing to make these next few minutes count to get himself on the board. Constable-Berry is wrestling that car through the hairpin now, but with just over 4 minutes left, he really needs to get a move on and put a lap together. Jody Fannin still hasn't put a time on the board, and with only 4 minutes remaining, the clock is starting to become the enemy.
He's cutting it fine. You want a banker lap in early here, so you can really lean on the car for that final run without the fear of a blank scorecard.
Jody Fannin crosses the line, but the screen stays blank. Must have been track limits or just an outlap, leaving him down in 18th with barely 2 minutes to make something happen. Daniel Coaches punches in a 150.3 to go third quickest, just as the clock ticks down towards the 2-minute mark.
That's a decent benchmark, but he'll be looking for more. You can see he's carrying so much mid-corner speed, really trusting the front end to bite.
Jody Fannin is powering down Park Straight, but time is rapidly disappearing, with just 1 minute and 45 left to finally get himself on the board. Fannin crosses the line, but the board still shows nothing for him. 27 seconds to go. This is his final chance to avoid starting from the very back.
He's overdriving. When you're under this much pressure, it's so easy to drop a wheel off the curb or miss an apex, and at Cadwell, that's your lap gone.
Chris Stokes is through Coppice, and he's right on the money, just 100th of a second off his best time as the clock hits 0. Rich Snape is 300ths of a second up on his delta in the final moments here. He's currently 5th, but looking to steal a few more places right as the clock runs out. Jareth Hallam is deep into his final flyer, and he is nearly a quarter of a second up on his best. If he holds this together, he is going to vault up from 10th. Dominic Fovargue still hasn't got a time on the board, and with only 24 seconds to go, this is his last chance to set a mark.
He's left it right to the wire. Any mistake now, and he's starting from the back. It's high risk, but let's see if he can deliver.
Adam Tyus is cutting it dangerously thin. 38 seconds on the clock, and he is still looking for his first timed lap of the session.
He has got one shot at this. If he catches any traffic or puts a wheel wrong now, that is it. He will be starting from the tail of the field.
Martin Mole is on an absolute tear here. He is sitting in second, but nearly a quarter of a second up as he hits the leap at the mountain.
He is really leaning on it now. Landing that jump without upsetting the balance is so tricky. One bounce too many, and that advantage is gone.
Martin Mole nails it. He crosses the line and jumps straight to the top of the board with a 146.9. Chris Stokes is absolutely flying right now. He is 2/10 up on his best, and he's currently sitting in 4th.
He's finding time in all the right places, and with over a minute and a half to go, this is a massive chance to jump right to the sharp end of the grid.
Neil Constable-Berry is absolutely lighting up the sectors. Half a second up on his previous best as he hunts for a better starting spot.
Finding half a second at a circuit as tight as Cadwell is massive. If he can keep it tidy through the final complex, he is going to vault right up the order from 15th.
John Boontakis is sitting in 7th, and he's currently 100th of a second up on his best as he hunts for a better grid slot with 2 minutes to go. The engines are howling across the Lincolnshire Hills, and the grid is locked in for the start here at Cadwell Park. Martin Mole has the Dutch flag flying high on pole today, looking to put that Lotus Cortina MK1 to work from the very front of the pro field. The local crowd will be rooting for David Constable-Berry, putting that MK1 Cortina right into the mix in P3 as the leading Pro-Am entry.
Starting that high up is a massive statement. He's got to be careful not to get bullied into the first corner by the pro drivers breathing down his neck.
Nigel Walters has really put the cat among the pigeons, sticking his MK1 Cortina 5th on the grid and leading the AM-class charge.
Rich Snape is right where he needs to be, starting 6th. He'll be staring at Walters, bumper, and you can bet he's looking for any gap to jump ahead in the AM standings early on.
John Boontakis brings some Mediterranean heat to the 4th row, lining up 7th in that MK1 Cortina.
The mid-pack at Cadwell is a nightmare. Boontakis needs to get those rear tires up to temperature fast, or he'll be a sitting duck through the first complex.
Jimmy Lindo rounds out the top 10 starters in 9th, looking to make up ground in the Pro-Am class right from the off.
James Allen is starting P10, and in these Cortinas, that's right in the heart of the chaos. He'll need to be precise with his braking points while everyone's bunching up.
Dominic Fovarg is sitting just outside that top 10, 11th on the grid, ready to launch that MK1 Cortina. Daniel Kosick lines up in 12th, another Pro-Am runner buried in this extremely tight midfield.
Starting mid-pack at Cadwell is nerve-wracking. Daniel's going to need quick reflexes if things get sideways ahead of him into the first turn.
Tim Weller starts P13 today in the AM class, and he'll be looking to pick off some of those Pro-Am drivers ahead of him.
Neil Constable-Berry is right behind Weller in 14th. He'll be aiming to tuck into the slipstream and climb the AM ranks as soon as the lights go out.
Jareth Hallam starts P15 in the Pro-Am class, and he's going to have his work cut out for him to move up through this dense pack.
16th on the grid for Bjorn Graham. It's tight and twisty back there, and he needs a clean launch to stay out of trouble.
Adam Tyus lines up 17th, and with the home crowd behind him, he'll be looking to make some early moves in that AM class battle.
Starting that deep at Cadwell is like trying to thread a needle at 100 miles an hour. Tyus needs to stay alert, because things get very tight, very quickly back there.
Green light! A wall of sound as the Cortinas scream away, and it looks like a clean launch for the front row.
Look at the rear end swatting under power. It's a desperate scramble to find grip on this cold surface before that first braking zone.
Martijn Mol has really got the jump on everyone, leading the charge through the first couple of turns. Jareth Hallam's right where he started in 15th, still looking for his first chance to move up.
He's got his work cut out for him, but this is exactly where you can get caught out on a cold opening lap.
Hallam is still locked into that 15th spot, right in the thick of the mid-pack scrap.
He's being squeezed from both sides. When you're in the middle of a train like that, one missed apex and you're losing 3 places.
Tim Weller is holding firm in 13th, keeping that MK1 Cortina right in the slipstream of the pack ahead.
It's all about survival on lap 1. You're trying to get heat into those rear tires without sliding into the scenery.
Elliot Norton's keeping his P8 spot as the pack starts to settle into their lines. Elliot Norton is right in the wheel tracks of Bountakis, just 4/10 between the two Cortinas.
John Bountakis won't have a moment to breathe with Norton that close. In these cars, you really feel the slipstream pulling you along the straights.
Allen is right on the bumper of Elliot Norton now, a 1/10 of a second back in P9.
He's close enough to smell the exhaust fumes. James has 9 minutes plus a lap to make a move, but he looks like he wants it right now.
Wait, James Allen's dropped back to 10th. The gap to Elliot Norton's blown out to over a second.
Something's gone wrong for Allen. Maybe he overcooked it trying for the move and had to back off to save it.
Daniel Kosick has had a nightmare opening lap, tumbling down to 17th, but he is glued to the back of Bjorn Graham.
He's lost 5 places already. In my experience, when you drop that far back, that fast, you're desperate to get them all back at once, but with only 2/10 to Graham, he has to be clinical here.
Daniel Kosick's made it happen. He's moved back up to 16th, squeezing past Graham on that opening tour.
He had that move planned from a mile off. Now he's got Graham filling his mirrors just 3/10 of a second back. No time for a breather yet.
James Allen has clawed his way back past Norton. He's up into 8th now, but the gap is barely 3/10 of a second.
Terrific response from Allen after dropping back earlier. He's found his rhythm again, but Norton is tucked right under his gearbox through this technical section.
Martin is still all over James Allen as they finish up this first lap, only 3/10 separated in that scrap for 8th. Jody Fannin has made up some big ground to get into 3rd, and now he's right in the dirty air of Chris Stokes, just 2/10 back.
Fannin is absolutely hounding Stokes for that second spot, 2/10 behind. It's only a matter of time before he has a look down the inside.
James Allen is really starting to push on now on lap 2. He's within 3/10 of Bountikis as they roar down Park Straight.
This is where the power of that MK1 Cortina really shows. If Allen can stay this close through the twisty bits, he's got a massive chance to pull out and make a move under braking.
James Allen has lost a tiny bit of ground through that last sequence, the gap to Bountikis opening up to 4/10 of a second now. Tim Weller has climbed into 12th as they dive into Mansfield, but he's got Dominic Fauvargue hounding him, just 2/10 behind.
Fauvargue has dropped a few spots, and he looks desperate to get back on terms. Weller needs to hit his marks perfectly here, because Mansfield is a classic spot for a dive down the inside.
James Allen is absolutely glued to the back of Bountikis as they flick through the Hall bends. Just 3/10 in it.
This is such a high commitment part of the track. If Allen can keep it tidy here, he'll have a massive run onto the start-finish straight, but one slip on those curves, and he's in the grass.
Allen has gone for the move and made it stick. James Allen is up into 7th now. John Boontakis is absolutely all over him as they come across the line. Wait, James Allen's gone from 7th back down to 8th. Boontakis has snatched that spot right back again.
He overcooked it or missed the apex, and that door was open wide. That's a huge lesson for Allen. The hard part isn't the overtake, it's making it stick through the next complex.
James Allen isn't letting that setback stop him, putting in his personal best lap to sit just 2/10 behind Boontakis once again.
He's done it again! James Allen fights his way back up into 7th, making Bountikis his prey once more.
These Cortinas are just dancing on the limit today, aren't they? It's like watching a 1960s ballet, but with significantly more tire smoke.
They really are. People forget how much these cars move under braking. You aren't just steering with your hands, you're steering with the throttle and your own sense of balance.
James Allen and John Boontakis have been swapping that 7th spot like it's a hot potato. I can barely keep up with who's ahead at this point.
I've been in races like that. When you're that evenly matched, it stops being about outright speed and becomes a mental game of who blinks first.
And Cadwell is so narrow, there is absolutely zero room for error when you're going wheel to wheel through a section like the Hall bends.
Exactly. You touch the grass here and you're just a passenger. With 5 minutes left on the clock, we're going to see that desperation start to outweigh the patience.
Daniel Kosick is absolutely hounding Bjorn Graham through the Hall bends, just 3/10 of a second between 17th and 16th.
One little mistake through this complex, and it's all over. Kosick is just waiting for Graham to overcook a corner so he can pounce.
Daniel Kosick is still held up behind Bjorn Graham as they finish that lap. That 3/10 gap is refusing to budge.
This is exactly why you've got to be perfect. Graham is defending well, but Kosick is clearly hungry for that 16th spot.
James Allen is back down to 8th again, 3/10 back from John Boontakis. This battle is going to go right to the end.
He's got to be careful not to keep dropping back like this. He needs to get his head down and make it happen soon with just 4 minutes to go.
Huge drama for John Boontakis. He's plummeted down the order to 13th, while James Allen cruises into 7th.
That is a massive drop-off. He must have had a major moment, likely a spin or a trip across the grass, because you don't lose 6 seconds at Cadwell without something going seriously wrong.
Tim Weller is in 12th now, just 7/10 back from Dominic Fovarg as he looks for any gap he can find.
Tim Weller has slipped another spot to 13th, and he's clearly frustrated as he tries to reel in Dominic Fovarg.
James Allen has dropped down to 8th now through the Hall bends, and Elliott Norton is hounding him from 3/10 back.
It's all about keeping it between the white lines here. One small mistake and Norton will be past Allen in a heartbeat.
Wait, James Allen's back up to 7th. He's somehow found some pace to move past Elliott Norton.
He really found his rhythm again in the last couple of sectors. He's pulled 5/10 on Norton already, but he can't relax just yet.
Daniel Kosick is really starting to find his way, up into 15th and sitting right on the bumper of Adam Tyus. And Daniel Kosick makes the move. He's up to 14th now, leaving Adam Tyus right in his rearview mirror.
He had that one set up perfectly. He needs to keep that momentum going if he wants to catch the cars ahead, because 14th is just the start for him.
Adam Tyus is looking to fight back. He's only 0.2 of a second behind Daniel Kosick as they start lap 5.
He's clearly not happy about being overtaken like that. When someone takes your spot, you've got to find a way to make them pay for it immediately.
Adam Tyus is struggling to close that gap, now 0.3 back from Daniel Kosick as they head through the middle sector.
He's losing touch just slightly. If he doesn't get back on those rear tires soon, Kosick might just slip away for good.
Joel Lemrick leads the charge up the mountain in 8th, but Jimmy Lindo is keeping him honest, sitting just half a second back.
These Cortinas look incredible through here, almost daylight under the front tires. Joel's got to land it perfectly to keep that gap to Lindo under control.
Dominic Fovarg is sniffing around the back of the top 10, just 0.4 behind Jimmy Lindo.
Lindo's under huge pressure now. When you have a car that close behind you at Cadwell, it feels like the track is about 2 feet narrower than it actually is.
Fovarg is holding steady in 10th, still shadowing Lindo with that gap holding firm at 0.4. Adam Tyus is sticking to Daniel Kosick like glue, 0.3 of a second back as they start their 6th tour.
He's matching Kosick pace for pace. It's a real tactical battle now. Tyus is just waiting for Kosick to miss an apex or get a poor exit out of one of these slow corners.
Adam Tyus is losing ground fast. The gap to Daniel Kosick has blown out to 0.8.
He might have asked too much of his tires trying to stay close. Once those rears start to go off in a Cortina, you're fighting the car more than the clock.
Dominic Fovarg is hanging on to 10th as they sweep through Mansfield, but Tim Weller is right there, only 0.3 behind.
Fovarg has managed to pick up a spot, moving into 9th and putting half a second between himself and Weller.
The intensity in that mid-pack is through the roof. Allen and Norton have been trading blows like heavyweight boxers since the lights went out.
It is the nature of these MK1 Cortinas. They are so light in the rear that you are constantly correcting, and that opens the door for anyone following closely in the slipstream.
Butak has learned that the hard way. 1 second he was in 7th, the next he is looking at the rear bumpers of the entire midfield.
I have dropped a wheel off at Mansfield before. It is like ice. Once that grass gets on the tires, you are a passenger for the next 3 corners while they clean themselves off.
Martin Mole hasn't had to worry about any of that. He has been in a different postcode today, just masterfully controlling the pace from the front.
Leading looks easy from the outside, but you are fighting complacency. You start listening to every little rattle in the car, wondering if the gearbox is going to hold for the duration.
We have seen some great class battles too. Walters and Snape in the AM class are showing the Pro-Am drivers a thing or two about racecraft.
In a spec series like this, class does not matter as much as bravery. If you are willing to keep your foot in through the mountain, you are going to find time regardless of your rank.
It really is a narrow ribbon of tarmac here at Cadwell. There is no such thing as a safe overtake on this circuit, is there?
Not at all. You have to force the error. You put your car in their mirrors at the entry to the hall bends and hope their concentration snaps before yours does.
Only a few minutes left on the clock now. The desperation is starting to show in the late braking moves we are seeing.
This is where the tire deg really kicks in. Those rears will be crying for help, and whoever can still find traction off the slow stuff is going to take the spoils at the flag.
Martin Moll is just seconds away from the flag now, holding a comfortable 1.6 second cushion over Chris Stokes as he heads for the line. Martin Moll takes the checkered flag, a masterclass from pole position to the top step of the podium. Chris Stokes brings it home in second, a solid performance to hold on to his starting position right to the end.
He pushed Moll hard, but just couldn't find that extra tenth to bridge the gap. Still, a brilliant drive to secure those championship points.
Jody Fannin clinches the final podium spot, moving up from fourth to third in a fantastic display of race pace. David Constable-Berry leads that following pack home in fourth, followed by Snape, Walters, and Elliott Norton in seventh.
Incredible effort from Snape and Walters, taking fifth and sixth overall. They've absolutely dominated the AM class battle today.
Joel Lemrick takes eighth, with Dominic Fovarga, Jimmy Lindo, and James Allen rounding out the top 11 finishers.
James Allen will be kicking himself. He had seventh in his grasp multiple times, but the chaos of that midfield battle just wouldn't let him settle.
Weller, Neil Constable-Berry, Tyus, and Graham all crossed the line to finish out the mid-pack order. And Daniel Kocius finally brings it home in 16th after a very busy afternoon at the office.
He was fighting for every inch of tarmac today. He'll be exhausted after that, but he can be proud of the way he worked his way back through the field.
Engines are screaming here at Cadwell Park. The grid is locked and loaded, and we are seconds away from lights out.
Watch that wind today. 11 knots across the track is more than enough to upset the car when they're light on the brakes.
Bjorn Graham has that MK1 Cortina pinned on the front row, just waiting for those lights to drop.
He's got to be precise here. Cadwell is essentially a thin ribbon of asphalt, and there's no room for error if he wants to hold that line into the first turn. Constable Barry is right in the mixer from fourth, but as an AM driver, he is going to have his hands full holding off the seasoned pros behind him on such a narrow circuit.
Tim Weller rounds out the top 5 in that second MK1 Cortina, another Brit looking to make a splash on home soil.
Starting P5 here means you're right in the thick of it. Weller is going to need a clinical launch to avoid getting squeezed into that first bottleneck.
Jimmy Lindo starts from 7th, looking to use that Pro-Am experience to pick his way forward through the early chaos. Dominic Fauvargue starts from 8th, right in the heart of the midfield pack in that MK1 Cortina.
It's a claustrophobic spot to be. From P8, Fauvargue's going to be looking at a lot of bumpers into the first corner, and these cars can get very light and loose when you're forced off the ideal line.
9th on the grid for the Dutchman, Joel Lemerick, who has got a mountain to climb from the middle of the pack.
He is in the danger zone there. One mistake from anyone ahead, and he has got nowhere to go on a track this tight.
Nigel Walters lines up in 11th, another local face looking to work that MK1 Cortina up through the order.
Starting mid-pack at a place like Cadwell is a massive test of patience. You have to wait for the gaps to open, because they certainly won't be given to you.
David Constable Barry sits down in 13th, tucked away in the midfield as the engines start to climb the rev range.
It's a long way back at Cadwell. He is going to have to be aggressive on the brakes early on if he wants to make up any ground before the pack stretches out.
Jody Fannin finds himself starting down in 14th, a pro driver with a massive task ahead of him today.
That is a frustrating grid slot for someone with his pace. He'll be hoping the mid-pack gets messy so he can pick up the pieces, but getting that MK1 Cortina through the traffic here is like threading a needle.
Way back in 16th, we have got Martin Mall, a pro driver with a lot of heavy lifting to do in that MK1 Cortina.
He is buried deep. It is so easy to get frustrated when you know you have the pace, but you are staring at the bumper of an AM driver who is making their car as wide as the track.
Daniel Kosic holds the keys to the kingdom from pole, that Hungarian flag flying right at the front of the grid.
It is the best seat in the house at Cadwell. If Kosic can break the toe and get through the first complex cleanly, he is going to be incredibly difficult to dislodge on a track this narrow.
The lights are out, and we are racing. A sea of Cortinas thundering down into the first corner at Cadwell.
Graham looks like he's got a slightly better launch on the outside, but Kosic is making that car as wide as possible into the apex.
Kosic has held his nerve and fended off the charge, leading the pack through this opening lap at Cadwell.
Perfect start for the Hungarian. When you are at the front here, you can dictate the pace and force everyone behind to dance to your tune while they are fighting for clean air.
Jody Fannin has made up 4 places already, carving his way through into the top 10.
Exactly the start he needed. You have to be ruthless early on here because the gaps will close up as the tires get hot and the drivers find their rhythm.
Allen has jumped up into 2nd place, taking 4 spots right at the jump.
Incredible launch from Allen. Finding that much space on a track as narrow as this is a masterclass in positioning.
Fauvargue has really made that MK1 Cortina sing early on, jumping from 8th to 4th in the opening lap.
He is driving like a man possessed, picking his way through the chaos like it is nothing at all. Fauvargue is glued to the back of Tyus, only a tenth of a second between them. He's looking for any mistake to stick that Cortina down the inside.
Joel Lemrich is hunting down Fovard now, with just over 9 minutes left on the clock, plus 1 lap to make his move. And he's made it. Lemrich pounces and takes 4th from Fovard, with absolutely nothing between them as they charge through this next section. These Cortinas are just dancing out there, aren't they? Every corner looks like a beautifully controlled slide.
That is the only way to drive them. If you are not pointing the nose at the apex with the rear stepped out, you are just scrubbing off momentum.
It is incredible how tight it is to the middle sector. At Cadwell, if you even breathe on the grass, you are becoming a passenger.
I have had some hairy moments here. It is like racing in a hallway. You cannot rely on aero. It is all mechanical grip and sheer guts.
We saw Jody Fannin slicing through the field earlier. A pro driver and a pack of hungry amateurs is always a recipe for a highlight reel.
It is high risk, though. The AM drivers are not always predictable with their braking points, and that can catch a pro out if they get a bit too greedy.
Did you ever get to thrash one of these MK ones back in your racing days? Or were you strictly into the high downforce stuff?
I did a historic race once, and let me tell you, these things have more body roll than a cruise ship. You have to be so patient with the weight transfer.
We have got less than 8 minutes left on the clock now. It is a proper sprint, no time for any tactical waiting.
Exactly. You have to treat every lap like a qualifying flyer. Any gap you see, you have to stick your nose in, or someone else definitely will.
Kosick is doing a stellar job holding the lead, but the pressure from James Allen behind him is relentless.
He needs to keep his eyes forward. The second you start staring in the mirror at Cadwell, you will miss your turn in and end up in the weeds.
Rich Snape has really closed the gap to Tim Weller, trailing by only 0.2 after a blistering 150.1 on that last lap. Snape's still all over the back of Weller here. That gap's barely changed since the last time we looked.
He's definitely found his rhythm, and with 8 minutes to go, he's just waiting for Weller to miss a gear or leave the door open a crack.
Neil Constable Barry is fighting for 12th with Nigel Walters right on his bumper, only 1/10 of a second separating them.
This is exactly why you have to keep your eyes ahead. Nigel is practically in Neil's cockpit right now, and one slip-up will be fatal for that position.
Constable Barry has picked up a spot to move into 11th, finally getting some breathing room between him and Walters.
He's used those British racing lines to perfection. It's only 3/10, but that's a world of difference when you're trying to set up for a move elsewhere.
Elliot Norton has that MK1 singing, only 0.2 of a second behind Rich Snape as they battle for 8th. Snape's still holding off Norton, but that gap isn't changing one bit.
This is exactly why Cadwell is so legendary. If you don't have the pace to actually pull out and pass, you're stuck in the dirty air looking for a gap that doesn't exist.
It is like a rolling museum out there, but these guys aren't treating those Cortinas like antiques.
They are really leaning on them. You can see the door handles nearly touching the tarmac, as they have got those cars right on the edge of the grip.
We have seen Fannin and Mull trying to fight through from the back. It is a completely different game when you are the one doing the hunting.
It is. When you are the faster car, you are looking for where they are overbraking or missing the apex. You just need one tiny mistake to capitalize on.
I bet you were a nightmare to have in the mirrors. Did you ever give the car head a little nudge to let them know you were there?
A little chrome horn never hurt anyone, Hal. It is just a gentle reminder that I am finding more rotation through the mid-corner than they are.
Kosick does not need a reminder right now. He has got James Allen filling his mirrors every single lap, looking for a way through.
Allen is being clever. He is likely saving his rear tires for a lunge in the closing minutes rather than roasting them in the dirty air now.
The mid-pack is where the real scrap is, though. Snape, Weller, and Norton are practically tied together with a rope.
That is the danger of a train like that. If the lead car in that group slips up, the rest of them have nowhere to go on this narrow ribbon of track.
6.5 minutes to go. The tension out there is thick enough to cut with a knife.
Just watch the exits. Whoever gets the power down earliest, without lighting up the rear wheels, is going to win the drag race to the line.
Norton has dropped back to 10th, but look at that lap time, a 1:49.5. He is absolutely flying right now.
He has found some serious pace in that Cortina, but sitting 2/10 behind Weller is a frustrating spot to be when you are clearly the faster car.
Weller has actually gained a bit of a lead on Norton. 0.2 of a second more of a gap now for that 9th spot.
Tyus has dropped like a stone down to 15th after that 2-minute-plus lap. Something must have gone seriously sideways for him.
Tyus is losing more ground. The gap to Walters has opened up to over 1.5 seconds now.
He looks like he is really struggling to get that Cortina back into a rhythm after whatever happened on that last lap.
Martin Moll is making moves, 8th place and chasing down Rich Snape on the park straight.
He is showing that pro class speed now. A blistering 1:47.7 on the last lap. He is eating up that 0.3 gap like it is nothing.
Snape's still got the gap to Moll. He's holding that 7th place for now.
Wait, something's happened to Rich Snape. He's dropped all the way back to 15th.
Unbelievable. Snape's plummeted through the order after that great scrap he was having.
He might have had a spin or some mechanical issue, but that's a massive blow to his race after looking so solid.
Chris Stokes is absolutely flying on lap 4, moving up into 6th place with a 1:48.4.
Stokes has found some serious pace out there. He's right on the tail of Jody Fannin now. 0.3 between them is nothing at these speeds.
Wait a minute, Snape is right back in 7th place, only 0.1 of a second behind Stokes.
Incredible comeback. That must have been a massive mistake or a spin earlier, but he has been absolutely on it since then to get back into the hunt for 6th.
That last lap of 1:48.3 is a PB for him. He is really pushing that Cortina to the limit right now.
If he keeps this up, Stokes will be feeling that pressure. When you have a car coming back at you that fast, it's really hard to stay focused on your own lines.
Snape's jumped up into 6th, overtaking Chris Stokes for the position.
0.3 of a second between them now. It looks like Snape has found a way past after that massive charge back into the mix.
Stokes must be wondering what hit him. He was just holding off Fannin, and now Snape has already passed him and pulling away.
He's really found something on this track. It's almost like that mistake earlier woke him up, and he's been on another level since then.
The crowd is going wild for this scrap. We have got some serious racing going on in the top 10 here at Cadwell.
It's great to see. The MK1 Cortina is such a fun car to watch, and these guys are really pushing them to the edge.
Martin Moll's dropped back to 10th through the park section, trailing Elliott Norton by almost 2 seconds. Nigel Walters is absolutely glued to the back of Neil Constable-Barry as they fight for 13th on the 5th lap.
He has found some serious pace on that last 1:48.2, only 0.1 of a second in it. Neil is going to have to make that Cortina very wide into the next braking zone.
Wait, that's it. Nigel Walters moves up into 13th and has pulled out a massive 5-second gap on Neil Constable-Barry.
Something must have gone very wrong for Neil there. A 5-second gap from just 1/10 is a huge swing in such a short amount of time.
Could be a mistake or even some sort of contact between them as they were battling for that spot.
We'll have to see if we can get a replay on that. In the meantime, Walters has found a bit of breathing room and can focus on the cars ahead.
It's all happening here at Cadwell. These drivers are leaving nothing on the table as the clock starts to run down.
Just over 4 minutes plus 1 lap left. Every second counts now as they try and improve their finishing positions.
Elliott Norton is deep into the hairpin, only 0.4 of a second behind Tim Weller in 8th after a new personal best lap. Jody Fannin is holding steady in 5th place, only 0.4 behind Joel Lemrich as they battle for 4th.
Fannin's really putting the pressure on. He's just waiting for a mistake from Lemrich to make his move.
He's been very consistent so far, keeping that gap to within 0.5 second for several laps now.
It's a real test of nerve for both of them. One small error, and that 5th place could quickly turn into 6th or 7th, with the way the pack is bunched up behind them.
We're seeing some great racing throughout the field. The level of competition in VVS is top-notch.
Absolutely. These drivers are some of the best in the business, and it's a pleasure to be able to call their races.
Snape is right there. There's absolutely nothing between him and Jody Fannin as they cross the line to start lap 6.
He's practically pushing him down the straight. That MK1 Cortina is wider than the track right now as Fannin tries to defend that 5th place.
Snape's still right on the bumper of Jody Fannin. That gap's barely changed since the last time we looked.
He's definitely found his rhythm, And with just over a minute plus 1 lap to go, he's just waiting for Fannin to miss a gear or leave the door open a crack.
It's a really tight battle for that 5th place, and it's anyone's guess who will come out on top at the end of the race.
We've seen some great overtakes throughout the day, so I wouldn't be surprised to see one more before the checkered flag drops.
The crowd is on their feet here at Cadwell, cheering on their favorite drivers as they charge towards the finish line.
It's a fantastic atmosphere and a real testament to the popularity of sim racing in the UK.
We're almost at the end of what has been a brilliant race. Let's see what happens in these final moments.
Every second counts now, so these drivers will be giving it everything they've got to try and finish as high as possible.
It's all to play for as the checkered flag draws closer.
The tension is palpable out there on the track. You can really feel it in the air.
Chris Stokes is holding on to 7th, but Martine Moll is closing in from behind with just over 0.6 of a second between them.
Stokes needs to keep it tidy through these last few sections. Moll is a pro, and he'll be sniffing for any hint of a missed apex to steal that spot before the lap is out.
Joel Lemrich is absolutely hounding the back of Daniel Kosic through Charlie's, just a single 10th between them as they battle for the podium.
Kosic is under immense pressure here. He's been near the front all day, but Lemrich has found a second wind in these closing stages.
And he's made it. Lemrich pounces and takes 4th from Kosic with absolutely nothing between them as they charge through this next section.
Stokes has really picked up his pace as we head into the final stages. That 1:49.5 is another personal best for him.